Hello everyone, it's T and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be introducing you guys to my longest played Legacy family, the Youngs. They are also a part of my Not So Berry Legacy family, and I'm currently on Gen 3. I've been playing this family for a total of 2 years, which is just so crazy to me, so I wanted to introduce them to you guys because I will be doing a current household for them quite soon. So the legacy starts off with our founder, Natalie Young. Natalie moves to CMI as a young adult and is working at the Foxbury Institute in hopes of becoming a robotics engineer. During her time working, she is a very busy woman, so she really doesn't have time for a relationship. However, after seeing her super hot neighbor, Weston Emery, she decides to kind of give it a shot. They go on a couple of dates, but things really don't work out between them. So they end up just having a physical relationship. It's very often that she heads over to his place to chill and to spend the night. However, these sleepovers end up catching up to them when Natalie discovers that she is actually pregnant. So Natalie decides to keep the pregnancy a secret from Weston and does this for about 7 months. No calls, no texts, avoids him at all costs. However, she kind of comes to the realization that she should at least let him know, like, he's a child on the way. They end up meeting up and, they're catching up. He's like, he's in a relationship and he's like, things must be going great for you because you're pregnant, who is it? Like, who's the guy or whatever? And he's like, it's you. So once she's kind of delivered that news to Weston, they really don't speak much after. And a couple months later, Natalie gives birth to her first son, Theodore Young, and actually the heir of Gen 2. She even calls Weston to let him know, like, hey, do you want to come over and meet your son? But the call just goes straight to voicemail, so needless to say, she's a little heartbroken. Even though Miss Natalie is a single mother, she absolutely loves her son, and she also has a lot of support from her best friend Amy, who she makes Theo's godmom. After a couple of years, she decides that her little studio apartment is too small for them, and she's been working really hard. She's got promoted in her job a bit, so she decides for her and Theo to move to a bigger apartment, and this apartment is in the Arts Quarter district of San Myshuno. As far as things go with Weston, he actually ends up reaching out and apologizing, saying that, he didn't have the best reaction, but he doesn't want Natalie to think that he's not going to be there for Theo or that he doesn't want to help and support her. He knows it's been a couple of years, but it was really just like a whole shock for him, and he needed a little bit of time, which, sir, but we're not gonna talk about that. But they actually end up working out a pretty decent co-parenting schedule. She drops Theo, off to his apartment at times and stuff like that. He plays with his son, he loves his son, he supports him, all that good stuff. However, as far as the relationship goes, they are just strictly co-parents for now, at least. As the years go by, things are actually going quite well for Natalie and Theo. She ends up seeing this guy named Marcus, and they start dating for a bit. However, things end up going a little bit south. She hosts a birthday party at the pool for Theo, and while she's there, she's seeing Weston and she's seeing him talk to this girl, and for some reason that just bothers her spirit. Like, she just cannot get over it. She is giving them evil eyes, and she's starting to wonder if she actually has over time developed feelings for Weston. Like, is this for real? Needless to say that when the family takes a trip to Oasis Springs, Natalie can definitely confirm that she has feelings for Weston. They're spending so much time together. She's watching him interact with Theo, and she honestly just realizes that she loves this man and she doesn't want to kind of be with anyone else, even though she's technically still with someone else. But Natalie and Weston actually end up heading to a nightclub the last day of vacation, where they're caught by her current boyfriend, Marcus, who becomes her ex-boyfriend in a matter of moments when he completely blows up on her, which, I mean, is to be expected. However, Natalie really didn't spend too much time feeling sad about that, because once they get back to San Myshuno, she actually invites Weston to live with her and Theo, kind of confirming their relationship. Natalie and Weston end up dating for about 2 years before Weston ends up proposing to her at the romance festival. A couple weeks later, they end up having a very small, intimate courthouse wedding, and it is just so adorable. And Weston and Natalie are officially married, and her little family is complete. Well, for now. When Theo's a teenager, Natalie and Weston decide that they want to expand the family, and this is where we meet the next member of the Youngs, Imani Young. Editing tea. So I forgot to mention that Weston and Natalie adopted Imani as a child, which is why you don't see any baby pictures of her. Theo and Imani actually have a very cute relationship. She always makes sure to bother him, especially when his friends are over, but they really enjoy hanging out and playing games together, and I just think they're so cute. However, not shortly after they've adopted Imani, Natalie actually ends up getting pregnant, and I was really rooting for her to just have a girl. That way that they can live in their same apartment and they don't need to move. But of course, in true Sims fashion, she gives birth to twin boys, and this is where we meet the final members of Gen 2, Rome and Cairo Young. After the birth of the twins, the family decides that this apartment is way too small for them, so they end up moving to a 2-story apartment in Uptown, still living in San Myshuno. Things are actually going pretty well for Natalie and her family. Theo ages into a young adult, Imani into a teenager, and the twins end up aging into children as well. And this is all around the time of Winterfest, so she's able to just have a beautiful large family for Winterfest, and it just warms her heart. The family decides to take a break from the cold and head to Oasis Springs for New Year's Eve, and this is kind of a nostalgic moment for Natalie. You know, when she was first in Oasis Springs, she just had, 3 members of her family, and now her family has grown to 6, and it just warms her heart. Weston takes Rome and Cairo back to the same fishing spot that he went with Theo. And they all just have such a great time there. However, things take a turn for the worse once the family arrives back in San Myshuno. Natalie receives the call that her best friend and godmother to Theo, Amy Sherman, has passed away, and this absolutely devastates the family. A few weeks later, Natalie decides that it's probably best to leave San Myshuno, and the family heads to a suburban home located in Willow Creek. Current day. Natalie and Weston have since sold their home in Willow Creek since all of their children have grown up and moved out, and now they currently reside in Oasis Spring and are enjoying their retirement. To kick off Gen 2, we have the heir to the Young legacy, and that is Theodore Young. Growing up, Theo has always been a charismatic child and has kind of kept with the same group of friends since elementary school. These friends include Aisha, Mazaki, and Hamza. They are friends all throughout high school, and it's around their sophomore year that Theo realizes that he has feelings for Aisha, so he asks her out, which she accepts to, and they end up dating all the way through graduation. However, since Theo and Aisha are both very hot-headed, they don't stay together for long and end up butting heads, bickering, and fighting. But Theo's a hoe, so he is sure to find a relationship somewhere else, whether it's from Jenny, an old high school classmate, or Kennedy, a girl at work. He makes sure he's booed up. Things don't change for Theo until his godmom Amy passes, and he gets a moment of clarity and realization that maybe serial dating is not the life that he wants to live. And what better way to solve that issue than to get married? Theo decides to get back together with Aisha and proposes to her, which of course she giddily accepts. Theo comes to the realization that getting married so young and so quickly probably isn't the best idea and decides it's better to call the wedding off. Too bad he realizes this in the middle of the ceremony and walks away, leaving Aisha heartbroken and his family extremely confused. After his terribly failed wedding, Theo decides to pour himself into his career. He's an aspiring politician and actively advocates for the Civilians for Everyone cause. Over the years, he spends his days hanging out with his family and spending time with his best friend Hamza. It isn't until Theo and his family move to Willow Creek that Theo sees Aisha about 3 years later. Her anger has definitely cooled off over the years, and she kind of respects Theo for being able to walk away knowing that their marriage would have been a complete failure. In the name of making amends, Theo invites Aisha to his family's barbecue that evening. At the barbecue, the pair definitely have one too many drinks, and before you know it, they have spent the night reconnecting, to say the least. Unknowingly following in his parents' footsteps, Theo's wild night of reconnection leads to a phone call from Aisha a couple weeks later informing him that she is in fact pregnant. Though this is not how Theo envisions starting his family, he is very excited and very supportive of Aisha's pregnancy. And before you know it, Aisha gives birth to Daphne Fisher Young, Theo's daughter. Shortly after giving birth, Aisha has to relocate to Windenburg for work. It hurts her to do so, but she knows that Daphne is well loved and supported by Theo and his entire family, and they decide to finally end their relationship for good this time and just to continue being co-parents. It's been a couple of years, and Theo decides to try dating again. He goes on a couple of online dates, and nothing really sticks until he meets April Torres, who is also a fellow single parent and has a son named August. Which, come on, April, August, that's so cute. However, because of their busy schedules and the fact that she lives in San Myshuno, they decide to call it quits on their relationship. Shortly before Winterfest, it's announced that Theo has won the position of governor of Oasis Springs, and he decides, as a gift to his parents, to invite them to live with him and Daphne in the governor's mansion, which they gladly accept. Current day. Theo, Daphne, Natalie, and Weston all live together in the governor's mansion in Oasis Springs. Theo has since reconnected with April, and they've been dating for a couple of years now. They're starting to get a bit more serious with their relationship, and they've recently introduced their kids to each other at a little play day at Chuck E. Cheese. Theo can definitely see him spending the rest of his life with April, but his whole life he's been taking things fast, so he wants to slow down and really enjoy this. As for Aisha, her and Theo are still on pretty good terms, and during the summer, Daphne comes to stay with her in Windenburg. And it's pretty safe to say that Aisha has definitely moved on from Theo, as she should. The next member of Gen 2 is Imani Young. As a child, Imani Young has always been extremely bright and intelligent. She's always been super focused on school, and it's been her goal to attend Foxbury Institute. Growing up, she definitely was a lot closer to her dad than her mom because they both had the genius traits, so working together to solve problems was something that they often enjoyed. Imani gets into Foxbury University with a distinguished degree in psychology, and it's when she goes to Moonwood Mill for a research project that she meets Rory. Just like all the other Youngs, she falls hard and fast for Rory, and they start dating immediately for about 3 or so years. Imani and Rory aren't just lovers, but they are also best friends and basically spend every day together. However, Imani has to come to terms with the fact that her and Rory's lives just don't align. While Imani wants children, Rory does not. And while Imani plans to move, Rory is committed to staying in Moonwood Mill. So shortly after Harvest Fest, Imani decides that it's best to break up with Rory, which absolutely hurts her heart. After her breakup, Imani has a little moment. She dyes her hair black, and it's time for her to really start focusing on school. Her relationship with Rory was a big distraction, and she's finally able to graduate, which absolutely warms her heart and makes her whole family proud. After graduation, Imani plans to purchase a small starter home in Willow Creek and wants to invite her current girlfriend Joy to live with her. However, after finding Joy flirting with an old friend Kayla, she decides that's probably not a good idea. Heartbroken, Imani gets in her car and drives off. She has no destination in mind, but she doesn't stop driving until she realizes that she's wound up at Moonwood Mill. There, she finds Rory and confides in her. It's definitely been a couple of years, but Imani can't deny that she misses the friendship that they used to have, and Rory ends up comforting her about the situation, just like old times. Post-graduation, Imani has yet to be settled into a career. Instead, she's focusing on furnishing her home and trying to better herself. It's when she's headed to a yoga class that she notices Celeste Richmond, and there's no denying the obvious attraction between them. The couple began dating for only a few weeks before Imani decides to invite Celeste to live with her. There's no denying that their relationship is moving fast. However, when it comes to love, Imani believes, just like all the other Youngs, to jump in head first. It's even at her housewarming party that she introduces Celeste to her parents. Imani and Celeste continue to date for a couple of months before Imani decides that Celeste is truly the one she wants to be with and proposes to her. And this is just the cutest proposal in this entire family. I love it so much. Imani and Celeste announced their engagement at a beautiful engagement party at the Botanical Gardens. Everyone is super excited for the pair, including Rory, who has since patched her friendship with Imani. Everyone, however, except Celeste's parents, Holly and Paul Richmond, who have not spoken to their daughter in over 2 years and are quite shocked to learn that she's getting married to someone she's only known for about 6 months. Current day. Imani and Celeste are currently preparing for their wedding, and they're staying at a gorgeous vineyard in Windenburg. The wedding is set to be held at the end of the summer, and they're inviting everyone that they know and super excited to celebrate this moment together. Finally, we have the last 2 members of Gen 2, and that is the twins, Rome and Cairo Young. Currently, Rome and Cairo are living in Del Sol Valley and pursuing their dreams of making it big. Rome has dreams of becoming a world-famous actor and is currently in pursuit of that. Just like his older brother Theo, Rome is quite the Casanova and definitely doesn't mind playing the dating field. Cairo, on the other hand, has inherited Imani's love of academia and is currently pursuing his dreams of becoming a best-selling author, currently working on his debut mystery novel. Unlike his twin brother, Cairo isn't interested in playing in the dating field. Instead, he's been settled into a relationship with Savon Fires for a couple of months now. Currently, both the twins are headed to Windenburg to celebrate the wedding of Celeste and Imani, along with the rest of the family. And that is the Young family. This family is so near and dear to my heart, so I'm really excited to be able to share their story with you guys. The next time we see the Youngs will be in Windenburg for the wedding of Imani and Celeste. Thank you guys so much for watching.